All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. No longer is the sickest joke of Black History Month the story of Tessica Brown, who put Gorilla Glue in her hair before it got removed on the 42nd day of the year. And the whole time that story was going on, I was like, God, this is so stupid. It's not hard to remove somebody's hair. And that's how they treat us, like we're stupid. And every year in Black History Month, you see black people die by the numbers. See them get shamed by the numbers. 2 years ago, they did a little bit different. Everybody who was white was dressing up in blackface. But again, all of this stuff is ritual. And what's now the top ritual in terms of the ultimate mockery that I've seen for Black History Month is the death of the comedian Mike Epps' father. And the reason this is now the top ritual, his father died on the 42nd day of the year, but the reason it's the top ritual is because this comedian was in the film Open Season 2, and his father dies on the same day that Anthony Fauci calls for open season on vaccines. And of course, open season's related to hunting. And with regards to hunting and targeting, who've they been targeting more than anyone with regards to vaccine propaganda? Of course, people of darker skin and black communities. They keep putting up the stats on the screen about how black people are dying at the highest rates from COVID. But look at this. Look how sick all this is. And we're even going to go back and look at Hank Aaron's death one more time for a reminder of the significance of this number, 86. But again, his father died February 11th, the 42nd day of the year. And from the comedian's birthday, November 18th, that infamous day, what I call the Skull and Bones Day, the 322nd day of the year. But from his birthday to his father's death was his 86th day of his age. And again, human sacrifice is 86, blood sacrifice is 86, and the other big 86 is coronavirus vaccine. And notice coronavirus vaccine, not only is it 86, but when you're in the alphabetic order in reverse, it's 112. And what day did his father die? February 11th, 11/2, like 112, like how Anthony Fauci called for open season with the coronavirus vaccine on this exact same day. Again, it's just all so clearly connected. Targeting black people to get the vaccine the most, saying they're at most danger. On that day, a black comedian's father dies on his 86th day of his age, and he was in open season. Again, this is why it's so obvious that the Jesuits control the whole show. Everything about coronavirus is a Jesuit agenda. You look at who's behind Hollywood and these big film companies. It's a Jesuit here, it's a Jesuit there. They run the news media. They control the government. We're living in their world. And we're going to continue to live in their world as long as we don't do something about it. And realize, it's shriveled old men, Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, who are getting the last laugh at us. And of course, there's people behind them, but still. These are the people who are controlling the minds of the masses, going on the TV, lying to people, snickering about it. Bill Gates has been snickering all year. Every time he does an interview, he's just snickering at the most inappropriate of times. The other thing that jumped out at me in light of this being the Jesuits is his family's from Indianapolis. I call that the Jesuit city because it's the only city I'm aware of in the U.S. that equals 201, like the Jesuit order. And remember, Event 201 was the coronavirus outbreak simulation, October 18th, 2019, 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China. And it took place the same day the Military World Games began in Wuhan, China. Event 201, the same day the Military World Games in Wuhan, China. The exact same day, October 18th, 2019. And what's weird is Wuhan, China equals 102, the reflection of 201. Well, it's not weird, it's ritual. I guess it's normal, actually. Normal. What's normal? As for him being in the film Open Season and Anthony Fauci declaring open season on the 42nd day of the year, again, that phrase equals 42. Like Jesuit, like vaccine, like Jackie, like Tuskegee, like slavery. You want to add to that list February, the N-word, bus, Martin, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, LeBron James, Huxtable, Cosby Show, and a million more. Don't forget what they did the other year on Jackie Robinson's birthday. I wasn't even paying attention this year on Jackie Robinson's birthday. I must have missed some headlines. But the other year on Jackie Robinson's birthday, you had 3 dead celebrities in the headlines, all of which were black, and all of which had names equaling 42. Oscar Gamble, the baseball player. Oscar Gamble, 42, died 42 days after his own birthday on Jackie Robinson's birthday. Rajuel Butler, 42, former NBA basketball player from Philly. and LaTanya Lemon, 42, the sister of Don Lemon. Who is Don Lemon not the worst news anchor there ever was? I mean, I can't figure out what's wrong with that guy. I mean, he is the worst news anchor ever. It's like, does he even have a teleprompter up there? He's like not well spoken. It seems like there's not a teleprompter. It seems like they just let him go off the cuff, but he's horrible. I can't figure out how Don Lemon's even on TV. Well, CNN, all their anchors, the one qualification is they have to be homosexual, but still, I mean, that's the only theme he's got going with CNN. Not that any of their other anchors are any good, but Don Lemon, just the all-time worst. And again, to be there, he had to drop his sister through the ice. They said his sister was out walking on ice in the middle of winter. Doesn't that story make a lot of sense? She fell through the ice and froze to death. And these are the 6 psychopaths that read the headlines to us. So anyway, on the 42nd day of the year, on his 86th day of his age, open season. Just couldn't be any more obvious. And if somehow you missed the Anthony Fauci open season, you see everyone emphasized it. Washington Post, emphasis on open season. The Hill, open season. People, open season. And it went beyond that. Everybody emphasized open season on the 42nd day of the year. And again, Anthony Fauci's Jesuit educated. He went to Holy Cross, and he said at Jesuit Georgetown on January 10th, 2017, there'd be a surprise outbreak in pandemic in the time of Donald Trump. Right on the money. And he knew it because it was all scripted. And he called for this in April, right? So they'll start with April Fools. April's got the 5679 connection like Society of Jesus. And again, the pandemic was declared March 11th, 2020. Anthony Fauci's 79th day of being 79 years old. And 56 been coded a million different ways. Here's the short list. COVID vaccine, coronavirus, Anthony Fauci, Washington, D.C., Society of Jesus. When Bill Gates got the vaccine 86 days after his birthday, supposedly. Again, he had a mask on. He wasn't wearing his glasses. Something looked a little bit different about the hair. Could be his stunt double. But again, it was a still frame image anyway, so there's no proof anything happened here. But the emphasized phrase when Gates got it 86 days after his birthday was, "I feel great," which is 56, because they've coded it on everything all year. And again, April Fool's Day, when Fauci says it'll be open season, that'll be 155 days after Bill Gates' birthday. Coronavirus is also 155. Don't overlook the 5 months and 4 days, because Jesuit orders 54. And again, with regards to the 155, everyone needs to go back and watch the highlight reel of Clade X. CLADE space X. There's a 26-minute recap of it, the highlights of the Clade X simulation, which was over 3 hours long. It's where there's a pandemic and they rush out vaccines that do even more damage to people. And they did that on May 15th, 15/5, like 155. 666 days before the pandemic was declared. 666, the number of the beast, the mark of the beast. You have to have the mark of the beast to participate in the market, And mark and mask. You got to wear a mask to enter, not far from the mark. Next thing it'll be you got to have the vaccine. You got to have the vaccine pass. Again, it's so easy to see what they're doing. I just said Bill Gates got the vaccine 86 days after his birthday, which is true. You could also say he got it on his 87th day of his age. And remember, number of the beast equals 87, also 258, like William Henry Gates' 258. And he set up his vaccine alliance on his 258th day of his age, July 12th, 99. And don't forget, Bill Gates is Mr. 42, Mr. Vaccine. The vaccine went live December 8th. The 42nd day of his age, and on his first birthday, October 28th, 56, Jonas Salk turned 42 that day, the founder of the polio vaccine, and it was exactly 42 weeks after Elvis Presley's birthday, and on that day, October 28th, 56, Bill Gates' first birthday, Jonas Salk's 42nd, Elvis Presley got the polio vaccine on live TV. Again, they've been doing 42 in vaccine for a long time, and the mockery just continues. And again, just to go back to that Bill Gates post, this was January 22nd, Seattle on the 122nd meridian, Satanic 122. From his birthday to that day was 86 days later, or his 87th day of his age. Bill Gates is also 87. Again, all news by the numbers, all ritual, all day. Remember earlier this month on February 4th, 4/2, The big story was more than half of black adults in U.S. remain hesitant on vaccines. So on the 4/2 date in Black History Month, they had to give you this story. And more propaganda to try to persuade people. Like, oh, you're being silly. You're being silly if you don't want to get the vaccine. You know, you better get this vaccine, otherwise you're not going to be able to participate. You know, your kids might not be able to go to school. You might not be able to work. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to go to the store. You better go get the vaccine. Because, yeah, this, you know, never mind that the flu doesn't exist anymore. Never mind that all the symptoms of COVID are the exact same as the flu and the cold. And it's 99.95% survivable. You better just go out and get that vaccine because we said so and we're the authority. And if you don't get it, there could be real problems for you. We're even thinking about giving you some tax stimulus if you go out and get the vaccine. That way we figure, you know, the tax burden of your later years when you're dying from all the preventable disease and illness that we intoxicated you with, it'll actually be a lot cheaper for us because you won't live to be that long. With our rushed out vaccine from criminal Pfizer. Anyway, again, it's just, you know, everything they do is by the numbers, you guys. It's all mockery. It's like, you know, Christians believe in Satan and the devil, again, good and evil. Evil's obviously real, and the Jesuits, it's just like everything they do is like, you know, a joke at our expense. And sadly, they got people under this spell that they're just too dumb to see what's so obvious. I mean, it feels like it's impossible not to see it, but somehow people don't. And you know what? Honestly, I got to admit, I'm even getting on their side. I'm stamping the vaccine. I hope it's as lethal as it could be, because I really do think these cattle just need to go. I think they just all need to go. I think there needs to be a lot less of them. To me, they're the only real obstacle to overthrowing the tyranny, you know? I hope they give it to police officers and army people first. Get them all out of here. Of course, it's not going to go down that way. They'd probably be the ones to get the non-lethal dosage. They need those grunts to protect them. Again, who's going to stand up for Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates if they're not there? You know what I mean? But with regards to the whole 86 thing, you know, Hank Aaron, it was days before his death that he was in the news for getting the vaccine, Hammerin' Hank, and the next thing you know, he's dead at 86. And TMZ all day kept up the 42 minutes ago, even though it was like, stayed that way for 3 hours. But again, he died on January 22nd. Speaking of satanic 122, but the 22nd day of the year, Braves 22, Aaron 22 and 86, Blood Sacrifice 67 and 86, Braves 67. Human Sacrifice is 67 and 86 in the same ciphers for the record. But satanic, you know, what a satanic ritual it was on January 22nd. There was a football player that day, former Denver Bronco, who died 122 days from his own birthday, dead on the same day. He was dead on the 64-44 date, 64 years after winning league MVP, wore the number 44 for his career. That was the kill date for the month. This month it'll be February 21st will be the kill date this month. And again, always that 44-64 date. His career started in Wisconsin before the Braves moved to Georgia, the 44 states. Hank Aaron had that fateful gematria of 83 and 38 like murder. He died 14 days before his birthday. Dead has that gematria of 14 as well as 22, dead on the 22nd. And again, just days before that, he was getting the vaccine. So, saw on CNN last week, they were saying that conspiracy theorists are blaming Hank Aaron's death on the vaccine. It's like, well, your same news outlet's reporting that people are dying from the vaccine. So, I think it's fair speculation. But like I said at the time, I mean, they would have often by the numbers. It was the time of the year for the ritual sacrifice. It was right before the Packers' last game, Wisconsin, with Aaron Rodgers, who got the league MVP this year, just like how he died 64 years after getting the league MVP. All the things we talked about. I noticed today he made his debut 67 days after his 20th birthday. Isn't that interesting? Braves 67, death 20. Henry Aaron, by the way, 56, like COVID vaccine, like coronavirus, like Society of Jesus. And again, he died on the date numerology of 44, 64, and 28, and he got the vaccine in Atlanta, Georgia, which is 59, the 17th prime. And again, Atlanta, Georgia is a predominantly black city. Negro, slave, blues, Rasta, they all equal 59. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown, came out in 59. I bet you they debated between putting Motown in Atlanta, but they ended up going with Detroit because it was on the 42nd parallel. And, from the Braves getting eliminated in the NLCS. Something we predicted before the year began because of gematria, why the Dodgers would beat the Braves in the NLCS, but it was 97 days after that he died. Death 97. Yeah, I mean, just same numbers all over the place. Same numbers all over. So, and then again, Tessica Brown just got the Gorilla Glue out of her hair on the 42nd day of the year. And, speaking of the same old numbers, Tessica and Negro got that 76 in it. Also 22 like Aaron. But, again, the Million Man March on the day, leaving 76 days left in the year. October 16th, 95. Slave Negro Blues Rostall, 76. Axe, 76. And, again, just the Gorilla Glue product. Just another 56 stamp. I watched the first episode of the Netflix show that they put out about, what's her name? The Lamb Girl who died at the Cecil Hotel in 2013. When I first started this research, that was like the biggest story. Everybody just every day was like, can you decode this? I'm like, I already decoded it. Can you decode this? I was like, does anybody look at what I already put out? But I noticed I watched the first episode of it last night. And in the beginning, they said that the Lamb Girl was in hotel room 506. Then they say that she might have been killed by the bums because it's in the, what's the phrase for that? Skid Row. And they said Skid Row around the hotel is 56 blocks. And then they show the police detective talking about it, and he goes, Jessica Lamb has been missing for 5 days. I mean 6 days. And I was like, Something tells me that way he just said that was not an accident. Hotel room 506, 56 blocks of Skid Row. She's been missing for 5 days. I mean 6 days. Sweet lady wasn't into it. I said, do you think that's a coincidence? She goes, I do. Sweet lady. She's a coincidence theorist too, but... Anyway, just this number's everywhere right now. It is everywhere. That other Netflix movie that came out at the beginning of the year about the drone pilot, if you haven't seen that, they put 56 and 263 all over that movie. Drone is 56. So, Gorilla Glue Girl had that Jesuit stamp on it as well. Again, the Jesuits gave us the language, the calendar. It's not hard to see who synced it all up. And remember, the Jesuits... half of them that created the Jesuit order were Jews who converted to Catholicism, and they are really the false ones because the real ones in the Bible are black, so we know why they coded all these numbers over the people whose identity they stole and seemed to ritualistically shame them. And, again, talking about the same stuff over and over and over. And if you're not on Free to Find Truth, again, it is the free social media website for truth seekers. Roseanne asked me to check out her post. I think she's out right now, but checking out her post, she said she had an idea for how we can get people to wake up. She thinks this is our best shot right now, so I'm just going to read her post. She says, the only recourse we have, in my humble opinion, at this stage of the game, is to hack the media, put message for truth seekers to gather in front of their local stations. Hey, this sounds like a familiar idea. I'm pretty sure I've been promoting this idea. The message could read something like this. We have taken over the media because we have had enough of the lies and deceptions. I don't know if she meant to write 19 there. Well, she can tell me later what the 19's about. Maybe the 19-year cycles. If you're tired of the lies and fear propaganda of COVID-19, I have a feeling she was going somewhere with the COVID-19. If you're tired of the lies and fear propaganda of COVID-19 pandemic and the constant threats of lockdowns every time the evening news media reports a new case or a new strain or a virus shows up, mask mandates, social distancing, and push to vaccinate everyone in the world, etc., come and gather at all mainstream stations to send the message. By doing it this way, no one has to get violent or fear repercussions for showing up, and from this stand we can share what we want for us, our freedoms we had before the pandemic for a start, and how we got to this point in history. Using gematria, tell me what you think. I think it's a good idea. I think a lot more people will resonate with that idea than burning the news stations down to the ground like Roddy Piper did at the end of They Live, which was a movie exposing the Jesuits as well, very clearly when you know the numbers, and Gematria. And I do think this is what we need to do. You know what I regret right now is that I live in such a small town. I wish I still lived in a bigger city like Seattle. And I think once Sweet Lady gets done with school, we're going to move back to a bigger city. Because I want to be, pounding pavement more often. But, I have news stations here. It's just nobody even works there. They're like abandoned buildings. So there's like literally 2 cars in the parking lot for the CBS branch, the ABC branch, the NBC branch here. It's like, look how small these news studios are. And again, this happened decades ago that, they told you this decades ago that local news was now starting to get syndicated from larger studios so that the local news don't need as many employees. So I'm sure like the news that they're broadcasting out of Yakima, where I'm in Washington, is probably mostly all coming from the Seattle area. So, but I think it's a good idea. But how many people are going to be willing to do it? Seems like most people aren't willing to do much. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. I got to hop on the Patreon here in a moment for the sports enthusiasts. And I'll probably be back on later today on this channel ranting about censorship. See if my other channel is still standing by the end of the day. Just needs one more strike. So enjoy the rest of your Saturday, Truth Seeker, and perhaps I'll see you later. All right, until next time.